Hi everyone, I'm coming to you from out in my backyard because daylight savings has started here and it's a beautiful day and I can get home from work with still 2 hours of daylight remaining, so I thought why not make the most of it. This video might be a bit choppy because I don't actually have anything to hold my phone, so I am just holding it with my hand and my arm is likely to get sore. Fun times. Anyway, it is October the 15th, we are halfway through the month, and for once I'm actually having a really good reading month. So I thought I'd do instead of leaving everything till the end of the month, I'd do a video now, because why not? So in my last video I talked about doing, I had 2 arcs to read, and I had 2 book club books to read, and then I was going to aim to read 3 Australian books because I need to read about 3 Australian books each month for the rest of the year to complete my Australian Women Writers Challenge. And when I did that, I did nominate which Australian books I was going to read, and then of course I got distracted. But I have read 2, so even though they weren't ones that I was planning to read, I'm still pretty pleased. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So the first of the 2 Aussie books that I've read so far is It's Been a Pleasure, Noni by Clare Christian. So this is Clare's second novel. I read her first book, Beautiful Mess, a few years ago. That one is a young adult book and I absolutely loved it. It's a beautiful story. And I've been following Clare on Instagram ever since, and so I'd seen a lot about It's Been a Pleasure, Noni Blake, and I spotted it at the library the other day and thought, you know what, I shouldn't be getting library books, I've got a big enough TBR, but I'm going to get this one. And I swear to God, if I hadn't started it in the evening, if I'd started it earlier in the day, I would have read it in the one day. As it was, I read the last 100 pages or so the next day. This book is about a woman who... So this is an adult book, unlike Beautiful Mess, Clare's first book. This is adult fiction. It is about a woman who comes out of a long-term relationship in her mid-30s and begins to realise that she hasn't been prioritising herself in her life, that she's always just been trying to make other people happy, and so she goes to Europe and devises what she calls her pleasure quest, which is basically about doing anything that she finds pleasurable or fun and not giving a shit what other people think. And it was so empowering and so readable, and I just really loved seeing her deal with her insecurities and try all these new experiences, and it was just such a good character evolution and I loved every minute of it. It's really easy to read. It's very, it's sexy and romantic and fun, and read it. It was great. And then for something completely different, I sat down and finished Future Girl by Asphyxia, which is a new young adult release that's just come out. Asphyxia is a deaf author and activist, and the main character, Piper, in this book is also a deaf artist, and she becomes an activist as well. I was trying to decide what genre this is when I finished it last night, because it's set in the future, but it's not really dystopia in the way of like the Hunger Games or... Pardon me, one of those is dystopia. There's no sort of like big action sequences with the main characters, running around shooting people or saving people. It's a lot more subtle than that. It's like the government is starting to like creep in with some dodgy things going on, but they're also doing other good things, so no one questions the iffy stuff kind of thing. And it's sort of like, oh no, is this going to get to a point where it's too late? And as the main character is deaf, she's grown up oral, is what they say in the deaf community, which means she grew up speaking and using hearing aids and lip reading, and she's never learned to sign. And in the book she meets other people who do sign, and she begins to learn that and learns how expressive she can be with that and how much pressure it takes off her trying to understand people, and that maybe the pressure shouldn't be on her to understand other people. Maybe they should make an effort to understand her and sign language instead. And there's also a discussion of climate activism, and so pardon me, one of the really key things in this book is that the characters are learning how to grow their own food. There's been a real shift towards synthetic food in the world of the book, and then it's sort of, actually, no, we can't, that's not sustainable. We need to learn to grow our own food, return to nature, that sort of thing. And it's not, none of it felt particularly preachy. It was just presented as, this is what you do, this is how you do it. That I learned a lot. There's stuff about composting, there's stuff about sign language, there's stuff about sort of government control and how that works. The idea is that the book is Piper's art journal, so she describes a lot of the drawings that she's doing, and then a couple of pages afterwards you actually see that drawing, or usually it's a couple of pages beforehand you see that drawing, and then later she describes what's going through her head when she's drawing that and that sort of thing. I'm actually gonna, at the end of this video, I've got about 30 seconds of footage where I just flicked through the book so you can see the kind of artwork. Like, every page is colourful and beautiful. The front cover, the actual title bit where it says Future Girl, is actually, if you run your hands along it, it's like a stencil, which is one of the art forms that Piper engages in. So it's just a really cool, beautiful book. It sort of snuck up on me. I didn't realise I was really hooked on it. I was finding it a little bit slow at first, but that could have been because I was reading it around the same time as I was getting ready for a job interview, and that was stressing me out. And then that happened yesterday and went really well, and then I didn't have to worry about it anymore, so I was able to just really sit and focus on the book, and that was where I was like, I can't put this down. It's not like any other book that I've read, and it's really engaging. So I definitely recommend that one. You know, it's really great to support own voices authors, and this is definitely one of them. I've never read a book by a deaf author before, and I learned a lot, and you should read it too and learn about their place in the world and how we can make the world more accessible to them. It's really important. I'm sorry that I keep like switching hands for my phone. It's easier to do that. I hope it's not too distracting. So those are the books that I've read so far this month for Oz Reads. I've still got to finish Harlequin's Riddle by Rachel Nightingale, and then maybe I'll even have time for something else. Who knows? I might get ahead on my challenge. That would be exciting. So I'll leave this there, and I'll show you the flip through of Future Girl, and then I'll catch you later in the month. Bye.